The STEP Center was started over 25 years ago by two women who needed an educational facility for their sons who were both differently able. At that time, there was very little inclusion in regular schools for kids who had disabilities or who had developmental challenges. And so STEP began with about 3 kids and gradually increased its size. I think our maximum has been at any one time close to 30. I am Andrea Cameron, and I've been a practicing therapist since 1985. My favorite population to work with are the children. Today we're at the STEP Center. It's a school for therapy, education and parenting of children with multiple disabilities. As part of our outreach to parents, and because of the need to keep producing material that parents can use while their kids are isolating at home, we've decided to create a series of educational videos.
Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Lesli-Ann Belnavis Elliott. I'm a registered art therapist and the director of Art Therapy Jamaica. Art therapy is a mental health profession that uses art and psychology to help persons deal with their emotions, express themselves. And today we'll be looking at a different approach with art therapy when using it with children and adolescents with special needs. Art Therapy Jamaica is an agency that offers online and in-person art therapy sessions for children to adults of all ages dealing with various needs. So join me as we do an activity today. It's a string art activity that can be done with children with physical limitations. The more we get into it, the more you will see how the process works. Joining me today is Hilary Sherlock. Well, we're going to use her hand, and she will be acting as one of the children who may have cerebral palsy or limitation, so there's restriction in her grasp. So the activity for today is what I like to call string art activity. It is a sensory activity, which means that you will engage in maybe movement, paint, which is touch, different elements of the senses. Just think of sound, movement, feeling, which is tactile. You may also be able to eat, but we're not eating today. We're just focusing on paint and string art. And so the materials you may need are the yarn, containers of paint, and I will just encourage you all to remember that this is art. So it's gonna be fun, it's gonna get messy. If you are concerned about your clothes, just maybe have on an old t-shirt or an apron, the same on the child. Always about flexibility, okay? That's just the approach, and adapting to what other things you can use in the space. So if you don't have yarn, as I said, you could maybe use a form of string, but make sure it's not too flimsy, it's not too thin, just enough that you can wrap it around the child's hand. So we're gonna make a knot. Make a knot, not too tight, because you want to be able to remove it, and you have enough that they will use the string to dip into the paint. So if you find your paint is too thick, you may have to add just a little bit of water for the consistency. So we're gonna use blue, or I should maybe ask the child which color they want to use, and if the child can't verbally say what they want, one of the tactics that I use is I just simply hold up the color and I let them move towards with their body which color they want to use. So Hilary, which color would you like to use? Blue? Okay. Alright, so we're gonna dip the string, and if they can physically try to move it themselves, right? Can you bring your hand down somewhere? Yes. Okay, ready? it up. If they can't lift it themselves, you can guide their hands, and then they're gonna move the string across. Now if a child, wow, look at that. If the child can't move as freely, then sometimes what I do is I rotate the paper. Hilary, pull again. Nice. Also, another way that I've done this is if the child is in a wheelchair, you just have them move the physical wheelchair back and forth and let their hand just glide on the paper. Okay, I'm gonna grab that string, and then sometimes I just leave the string, or if the child wants to move the string on the paper. Nice. Thank you. When they're ready to stop, so we leave the string here, and the type of paint that we're using is called tempera paint. You could use poster paints, but they're a bit thick, so you'd have to have water. Tempera is a nice consistency to use. For some children I will add, I have a shorter piece of string that maybe depending on their grasp or grip or how their hands are formed, you could also tie the string on their finger. Or fingers, and have them move from there. So it's always about changing the activity to how your child is moving and what they're capable of. Okay. So sometimes you have to guide. Do what's called hand over hand, or a type of hand over hand where my hand is over Hilary's hand, guiding her, but not forcing her. So I'm just gently guiding her. If she's shaking or there's resistance, I'm just helping her with a bit of control. And again, we just rotate the paper. She's pulling, I'm also turning this way. Okay. Stop. So she's also engaging in like sensory tactile movement by just rubbing the string and forming her own pattern. So she's finished. And what I do is when this is dry, we can glue the yarn or the string onto the paper so it shows, and so you have different levels. You have the pattern of the string that's created by the child. That's really cool. Different patterns and shapes that's coming up. What's this? The string that they use. So it's the element of what they use to paint. That's also tactile. That's something when it's dry, they can run their fingers over it and feel it. So, and if it's dried, you can always say, oh, they can come back another day and add to the art. So this is called string art activity. Thank you for watching. Feel free to continue to follow us on our YouTube channel, like, click subscribe, write a comment below, and share our videos. Thank you.